Okay, you said the background in the Bible is not fictional. Only the stories in the Bible are fictional. You know there's over 37,000 scriptures in the Bible. Have you read through all of them to make that assessment? I mean, did you? Have you read every scripture in the Bible to make that determination that you know without a shadow of a doubt that every story.
What's up, y'all? This is Middle America with Ben and Sori. Right now, we're about to get everybody up online. I gotta let everybody know that the stream is live and in full effect. Hopefully, we're gonna be able to talk about Baby It's Cold Outside / Trump / anything anybody wants to talk about, really. Should be a fun one. Hopefully, we can maybe even get a good debate in here. Depending on what people want to talk about. And I'm hitting up the Patreon people, let the Patreon people know that we're live, and then that should do it. I'm not logged into Patreon here. Nope, that's the wrong one. So hopefully we can have some good discussions going. If you are in the chat right now, I am on another page trying to get everything set up real quick. So I haven't seen you yet, but I will see you soon. Your page. 7, 0, 9, 0. And create a post. Fireside, y'all. Video is private, it says. It's not private. I made it public. What's wrong with y'all? We got 11 people watching. All right, let's see. So we got Yan in the house. We got Joseph, the capitalist swine, in the house. We got Zonia in the house. Talk shit about Vin before he notices. Very nice of you, Zonia. I appreciate you. It's cold outside. Yeah. So Sori didn't know anything. What I should have done is I should have shot a Middle America video about it. We probably still will. But Sori just heard about the Baby It's Cold Outside video. I don't know, or song or whatever. Apparently, I'd never heard the song before in my life, so I was looking at the lyrics, and as a person who'd never seen the song before, the only context I had was this controversy, and I was like, well, yeah, that does sound kind of weird. But I guess Sori grew up with the song, so she thought it was, can I get a Pepsi? Can you get one of the kids to get me a Pepsi? Yeah. She's completely fine with the song. To me, the lyrics are kind of suspect. Like if I had my daughter, if my daughter was in that type of situation, I'd tell her to call me and I'd go over there. But see, because Sori grew up with it, it's completely different for her. Like I said, I'd never heard the song before, so that was my first introduction to it. But you know. A bunch of worthless nuts. Hey, Audra, the Metal Outlaw. What's up? Damon Sage in the house. What's up?
Did you
Gersok's in the house. That's interesting. Let me see the other computer.
Wait. You're bossing me all over the place. I want to do something. Drink your soda. Can you look at the camera? All right. What do you want? The other computer? Here you go.
Well, I don't want the other guy. I just want to know what's up with the upload. If you're going to ban that one, you may as well ban them all. White Christmas is racist. And I don't know how you can ban a song. How do you ban a song? Like, do you...
You put so much negative stuff around it that people feel bad to play it at their Christmas holiday things. So what? Some people think that what? Do people in the chat think that that's a bad song? Thanks, Damon.
What? The what do you call it? Baby It's Cold Outside?
Yeah.
No, I think everybody thinks it's ridiculous. For me, I had never heard the song before. So when I was looking at the lyrics and people were putting in context, I was like, well, yeah. I mean,
what context?
The context that it's, the girl keeps saying no. He's like, hey, have something to drink. She's trying to get out of Dodge, and he kind of won't let her.
Well, I don't think that she really wants to go either. But she kind of...
Hey, that sticker's meant to spark interest.
Yeah.
Hey, I see you. Oh, yeah, put that sticker back up.
Babe, I want to eat. Stop making me do things.
All right. What's up, K2? Yeah, long time no see. K2, were you on my Middle America channel telling me that Margaret Sanger wasn't a racist? Was that you?
Yeah.
Why did you react to another grunge song? Grunge is so last week.
How does he pronounce it? I just want to say Selah.
Saleh?
Yeah,
I've always
thank you.
said Saleh. Saleh Nasser. What's the topic tonight? Well, we've got Baby It's Cold Outside. We got Trump arguing with Dianne Feinstein on camera. And anything else you guys want to talk about? I smoked DMT an hour ago. Really?
That, honest to goodness, is so scary to me.
Must not have been that good. I've been listening to a lot of Terrence McKenna before I go to sleep. And he's an interesting fellow, that's for sure. Look back on a lot of old school songs and you'll find a lot of creep. I think you're right. I think Zonia's right about that. Share successful.
Probably.
Bless God.
Zonia, I have to send you something because I'm trying to remember. I think Peter sent me something on like artificial intelligence, like these robots and stuff, and how like the creepy things that like robots say, like the top 6 or something like that. But I feel like I'm listening to it and I'm like, yeah, that's a problem, what the thing said. But I'm like, I don't feel like that they have like their own intelligence. I feel like their creator, whoever put that, like that's why they're saying the thing. Like some of them say some really nihilistic things. And I just feel like it comes from whoever it is that's piecing these things together. But I was like, I need to ask somebody who knows more.
See, Jen agrees with me that song is kind of suspect.
Yeah, well, I don't.
See, Jen,
like
I've
it.
never heard the lyrics before. Well, but
I like it.
If you overheard a conversation with Zoe and she was over some dude's house and she kept saying, I want to go, and he's like, well,
it depends.
Have another drink.
No, it depends. Like on if she's saying, well, I really have to get going, but she's like kind of like flirty with it, and then
so
he's
no,
saying, well,
no doesn't really mean no.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
She
is
said
that
no in the song.
context determines what's going on. Like if you look at how she's saying it, what's her body language, all those things factor in.
Right. So that's my point.
There
No?
are some times that no doesn't mean no.
Wow.
Are there some times that I've said no and it didn't really mean no?
No. What are you talking about? Has that happened?
Yes.
When you said no and it didn't mean no?
Yes. Stop it. I'm not having this conversation. My face is getting red. And you don't even remember. You're weird. I'll just eat my roast.
Well, that's different.
It's context.
There was
babe.
a previous conversation about
There's
it.
context, though.
No, that's ridiculous.
So if the girl is saying, no, like, I really got to get going, like, it's, then he's saying, well, have another drink. And, well, then I would say, no, that's not okay.
Well, that's what he said.
Yes, but if she's saying, well, I really should get going. And then he's like, well, but you could just have another drink. I mean, it's cold outside. And like, it's like this like bantery playfulness, which is what I hear when I hear the song. Then I don't think there's a problem. But if she's saying, no, I really need to get going. Like my mom's going to be worried. And he's saying, no, just, like, no, that's not okay. It just depends on the situation.
Uh-huh. Vince, Sanger probably was racist, but I think her main motivation was eugenics and wanted to rid the world of the lower life forms in her mind, regardless of their race. I sent Vin and Sori some badass shirt ideas. Something that I would definitely rock. Context sensitivity. I just think it's a really slippery slope when you say that no doesn't always mean no.
Yeah, I agree, but it depends on, the people. Because if I really meant no, you would know it, and it would be a no. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think that if we were eavesdropping on a conversation, it would be different.
Honey, how can you say that? I'm saying if you saw it and she was like, well, I really should get going. And he's like, well, just stay a little bit longer. Yeah, but I really should get going. Well, have another drink. Like, it's just playfully.
Well, you're looking at it as
playful.
Johan's
free right now.
You're looking at it as playful. What if the girl really tried to escape the guy's clutches?
If you listen to the song, that's not what they're trying to put out there. The song doesn't sound like a scary thing.
I don't know. No can sometimes not mean no, but that has to be discussed in a safe, consensual relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the 2ID shirt from? It's a song about rape. He roofies the drink. Does he really roofie the drink?
It does not. You guys are making a big thing out of this. I think it's ridiculous.
I'm like half serious about it.
I know you are.
I'm just saying I can see where people could come to that conclusion, and I don't think it's like as ridiculous as people are saying it is. But maybe I would have a different feeling if I grew up with the song.
Yeah.
I've never heard the song before, and I don't even know what the tune is. All I know is the lyrics.
Oh,
She's saying,
you don't even know the tune?
I didn't even know that they posted the lyrics on.
Well, you need to hear the song,
on CBS.
and you'll see what I'm saying.
And it was like, she's like, I gotta go, and he's like, and she's like, no. He's like, have a drink. I'm like, yo,
no,
chill,
it's not
my
like
guy.
that. It's not like that.
The problem is those gray areas have commonly been used to get off on rape charges.
Yeah,
that's true.
But like I said to you this morning, I said there was that cop that the girl was being all reckless at the hospital, and he said, what did he say?
We're gonna have to review that song. We're gonna have to review "Baby It's Cold Outside."
Do it,
and then I'll give my official whether it's rapey or not.
But the cop ends up, handcuffing the girl to his hood and rapes her. And what did he get? He got 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying that's a problem.
Actually,
he
got 90 days.
90 days. We need to be dealing with that stupidity and stop wasting all this. Like, that should be... Baby It's Cold Outside is being broadcasted more than what that guy did.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm eating roast, K2. Roast with potatoes and carrots, although I'm not really feeling the carrots, so I probably won't eat them.
Yeah, but there's a certain type of culture that made it so that a cop like that could be in that situation.
Baby, it's cold. You need to listen to the song.
He grew up listening to Baby It's Cold Outside.
That
made him the man that he is.
Full of it, honey. That's so ridiculous. No, I do think you should listen to the song because I'm telling you the sound of it is different.
What male who's hanging with his girlfriend wouldn't try to vie for more time when she's knowingly trying to go home?
Yeah, I mean... I don't know. You always wanted me to stay later.
You always wanted me to stay later. What are you talking about?
Yes, but then when I would come hang out with you here, you would want me to stay later.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put alcohol. I wouldn't give you alcohol.
No.
And be like, oh, what's in this drink?
What's in this drink? He doesn't
That's in this
say
song.
what,
It's
no,
kind of suspect.
No, he doesn't say
suspect.
what's in this drink.
All I know is I wouldn't want my daughter.
Eggnog.
I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation.
It depends.
It depends for me.
It depends. If it is the way it sounds in the song, then I'm okay with it.
The current fervor over "Baby It's Cold Outside" is kind of like the left's excessive use of the term racist. I agree.
Did you see this one?
I wish my girl would roofie me. Is that the one?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Kevin Hart?
Steven, that's what I think. I mean, what the heck? Who hasn't tried to get the person they love to stay? Sorry, smokes for sure. I don't. I tried weed, and it was a disaster. I was like a raging... I was so angry.
Look, see, Sarah said... She does say what's in that drink.
What?
She does. It's in
Well,
the
I never
song.
heard that part, and I need to hear it for
It's
myself.
in the song. I don't know.
She does say that. It's all playful banter, though.
Sure. You guys doing Skype? Yes. D McNuts. That's the guy's name is D McNuts. Good Lord.
She makes it out as she was making it out as an excuse.
Excuse where? Where do you see that?
Regarding the what's in this drink. Nothing was in the drink. It was a playful banter thing. She was making out as an excuse. I don't remember that part of the song.
Kevin Hart shouldn't.
Well, maybe I need to listen to it again.
Here's M Def fan. Third wave feminazis should looking for something new to be offended about. Those damn feminazis.
I just think that there's some
People are hilarious. Those there's this cabal of feminist Nazis running around. Nazism actually was not very pro-feminist. Actually, it's very patriarchal ideology. Baby, it's cold outside. Is that how the tune goes?
No.
Oh. Look at Becky in all caps. They're flirting! They're flirting!
Exactly, Becky. They're just playing
Says
with each other.
every rapist ever. Have you ever heard a rapist say, yeah, I went and raped that girl, da 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 da? Don't they always say that the girl was like flirting with them and all this?
You listen to the song. Like, Gershok, probably like 5 minutes. Oh, did you unlock it?
Yeah, it's unlocked. If YouTube published it, then we should be good to go. Let me see how far along we are.
I hope you guys have as much fun with it as we did. Ivan, I want to hear her side of the song. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pull this thing up and let's listen to it right now. And we'll listen to it with the lyrics and we'll see if it's not rapey, because it sounds rapey to me, man. It sounds. I just feel like your objectivity is being messed up here because
maybe
you grew up listening to the song. For a person like me who's never grown up with the song, the lyrics sounded kind of suspect to me, fam. I'm sorry. It just sounded kind of weird.
But I'm telling you, if somebody all of a sudden just listened in to some of our conversations, they would say it was suspect.
No, they wouldn't. Not at all. Not at all.
You are insane.
We've already
literally lost your mind.
We've already had those discussions. So that puts context around it. Is there a discussion around the other stuff?
Because how do you know?
Because all I have is a song.
Yeah, and if all they had was that conversation,
that you're completely apples and
you are
oranging
completely out of your mind.
Situation.
I cannot believe
you're ridiculous.
that I'm sitting in this room right now.
You're ridiculous.
I'm rolling by eyes to sorry. I think she meant my eyes.
It's gonna get taken down.
Yeah, the whole thing's gonna get blocked.
Yeah, you guys are married and it's 2018. Exactly. Tell her, Jen. Have to deal with this foolishness.
It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous.
Such a bad argument. Such a bad argument. Bring us up in the discussion.
Yep, we did, Zork.
We did what? You guys did a video with Hefner? How does he know that?
It went up. It posted.
No, it could be Hefner. He could be subscribed to Hefner because his is probably out.
K2, that's what he likes, the way we banter.
Vin is apples and oranging. I just got a notification. Yeah, I think you're totally wrong on this. I don't think you're looking at this objectively at all. I think you have an emotional connection with the song because your mom and your dad used to listen to it, and so that is clouding your ability to rightly understand what the hell
the guy is
going
a
on.
rapist.
It's a rapey song. It's at minimum it's suspect. If I look at the lyrics, at minimum the lyrics are suspect.
Yeah,
the lyrics make you go, Yeah, it's 60% processed. It's not up there yet.
And then how did Zork know? He said it just published.
This is stupid. Sorry rolled her eyes at me. Oh, you rolled your eyes at Jen?
I did. I think it's so ridiculous. I think that you guys are overboard, man. Like,
What do you mean?
I told you
overboard?
today.
Okay,
I can
I'm gonna
throw
read
in
these,
with
I'm
you
gonna read these lyrics
on
right
Beauty
now.
and the Beast. Like, that is a bad
I'm gonna
message.
read these lyrics right now.
I don't think that Sleeping Beauty is a bad. I mean, Sleeping Beauty.
Who said anything about
Snow White.
Sleeping Beauty? Why are you talking about Sleeping
people
Beauty?
always bring all that stuff into it, and then before you know it, we can't have any childhood stories.
I can't,
because all of them have turned to a Me Too movement.
I really can't stay. Baby, it's cold outside. I gotta go away. Baby, it's cold outside. This evening has been hoping that you dropped in. So very nice.
Yeah.
I'll hold your hands just like the ice. My mother will start to worry. Beautiful, what's your hurry? My father will be pacing the floor. Listen to the fireplace roar. So really, I'd better scurry. Beautiful, please don't hurry. Well, maybe just half a drink more.
She's saying that.
Oh, okay. Well, she said to drink.
That's right.
I'll put some records on while I pour. Okay. The neighbors might think, baby, it's bad out there. So, say, what's in this drink?
No.
What did he put in his drink? In her drink, huh?
No, she's probably playing.
She wanted a Gatorade or some Kool-Aid.
No,
and
she
he
didn't. She did not.
Bill Cosby'd her.
No.
He Bill Cosby'd her.
No, I think that's just playful banter.
Jeez, when was this song written?
Stop it, babe. I don't think you're right at all.
What's in this drink? No calves to be had out there. He doesn't even answer her.
She knows.
He doesn't even answer her. He's like, hey, there's no calves.
Stop it!
Too bad, bitch. Drink
No,
up!
that's not it! She's saying, stop it, listen to me. She's saying,
I
well, maybe
wish
I'll have
I
half
knew
a drink.
how. Your
She
eyes are like
knows
starlight
how bad he wants
She
her
wishes
to stay.
to break this spell. So she drank the spiked drink Kool-Aid, and now she's under his spell.
You're ridiculous. No,
She's
it's a
clearly
love spell.
under the influence. The
That's
spell
why
that
she
she had
stayed.
after she drank. I'll take your hat. Your hair looks swell.
That's so cute.
Why, thank you. Well, she says thank
I
you.
ought to say no, sir. Mind if I move in closer? He's
At least I'm
asking
going
her.
to say that I tried. What's the sense of hurting my pride? Oh, that's not
can't-
good. That's not a good look. What's the sense of hurting my pride? I really can't stay. Baby, don't hold out. Hold out what? What's she holding out there, sorry?
She's holding out on him that she's gonna leave. She's not gonna leave. I don't know. I don't care. I
Interesting.
really don't
Back
care.
battery is low. The neighbors might think, baby, it's bad out there. So what is in this drink? He still won't answer the question.
I don't think anything was in the drink.
I wish I knew how. Your eyes are like starlight now to break the spell. Swell hell.
She doesn't
I'm gonna
wanna
say that I
go
tried.
either.
Why are you hurting my pride? Hey, Dustin, hold on, bro.
Wait, stop saying names, babe.
Hold on. We have to finish these lyrics to this suspect song. You're very pushy. Oh, look at this. You're very pushy, you know. I like to think of it as opportunistic.
Whoa, wait,
what the
where?
hell?
We never heard this entire song.
Oh, you never heard the entire song?
No, where is that?
She says, you're very pushy. He's like, I like to think I'm opportunistic.
That's a scary line.
That's suspect. I simply must go. Baby, it's cold outside. The answer is no. She said no.
She finally
He won't
said
let
no.
her go. What do you mean finally? He won't let her go. The welcome has been, how lucky that you dropped in. So nice and warm. Look at the window at the store.
But she changed her name.
My sister will be suspicious. Gosh, your lips look delicious. Allahu Akbar. My
What?
brother will
That's
be
good.
there in the door, waves upon a tropical shore. My maiden's aunt's mind is vicious. Gosh, your lips are delicious.
And then she says, well,
maybe just a cigarette more.
She doesn't want to leave either.
Uh-huh. I've got to get home. Baby, you'll freeze out there. Hey, lend me a coat. It's up to your knees out there. He's completely ignoring her. You've really been grand. I feel when I touch your hand. Creepy. But don't you see?
No.
How can you do this thing to me? Oh, you're now the victim, Mr. Rapey. Mm-hmm. There's bound to be talk tomorrow. Think of my long life of sorrow. At least there will be plenty implied. If you caught pneumonia and died, threats.
What?
Threats,
Stop
intimidation,
it.
manipulation.
All of this was not in the song that I heard.
I really can't stay. Get over that old out. Baby, it's cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside. Okay, fine. Just another drink thing. That took a lot of convincing. You're going to tell me... You're going to tell me there is no creep factor in that song at all.
Okay, Emily, see, what version of the song is this? I've heard a few different recordings, and none of them are this creepy. I have not heard this many things in it
Creepy as
either.
hell. It's creepy as hell.
Oh, look at that. Just looked it up. Roofies and all that was not around when the song was recorded.
There's no war on Christmas.
Jesse, we can't make beanies on the site on Teespring. They don't make hats. Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, I did hear about the dude from Cannibal Corpse. I hope he gets the help that he needs, and I'm glad that, that the cops were able to show restraint and not kill him.
What happened?
Dude, when somebody's house got set on fire or whatever, and then he charged after the cops with a knife. But somehow he was able to leave that interaction alive, and I'm happy. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that he was. This shows that police know how to show restraint. So I hope they continue to do so. I didn't say a word about his skin color. All I said was they didn't kill the big homie. That's all I said.
I don't understand why he went after the cop.
He just lost it. Bottom line, it's a song. I know it's a song, Maddie Nutrition. There's Jen. Good thing he's white. Me and Jen need to do the real social justice show. You're a sellout to the feminist cause, sorry. This is a creepy as hell song. You know the song is creepy as hell. Okay, there were some
parts that got creepy, but that wasn't in the original.
Huh?
In the one that I heard growing up, it didn't get like that. It is a little bit much now that I hear all of that.
Finn, do you see the video who was having her baby yanked by the cop? She was resisting and all, but the cop was like really yanking this baby. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I hate seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people send me that stuff. Look, now they're in my lobby. You see that? Well,
if they wanted it bad enough, they'd have been in the lobby earlier.
Yeah. Yes, I see those videos, and I usually don't watch them to completion, and I haven't shot a Middle America episode. It was that guy that got shot at the mall, and the cops were saying that he was a suspect or whatever, and turns out the autopsy has that he was shot in the back. So, there's that. I take mental health breaks from those types of situations because, they're,
Wow.
But seriously, though, hopefully the big homie from Cannibal Corpse can get the help that he needs. Mm-hmm. And I saw a couple people, making fun of him and making memes about him. It's like, okay, you've enjoyed this dude's music, and now he has a mental breakdown, and now he's, the butt of a joke. I don't get it.
I don't either.
It's like, okay. This is why these guys kill themselves, man. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Wow. That's really terrible, I'm deaf fan.
Head, neck, and the small of the back.
That's...
This is a good question. As American voters, do you feel guilty for voting for people that caused wars in our countries, the Middle East? Well, I'm a big believer in collective guilt. So, of course, I think we've done a lot of terrible shit in the last 20 years in the name of fighting terrorism. Unfortunately, the only excuse that I could give to the average American voter is that on the left wing and the right wing, there are war hawks all over the place. So if Hillary was in office, we'd be having a stare down jihad with Russia right now. So, yeah, I during the Arab Spring, I didn't like I did not like our involvement in the Arab Spring. Let me just say it that way. This song is being banned. Have they heard Infinite Annihilator? I don't think you can't ban this. How can you ban a song?
No, you just put
radios won't play it or something like that.
Yeah, radios won't play it, and then at your holiday events, you have to stop doing the song because people. You don't have
to. Your parents are not going to stop playing that song.
Nope, my parents won't. But if there was enough social pressure, I think a lot of places would, because they would say, "Oh, okay, this is it's not being sensitive to the people who have been raped or whatever." Even though I don't know. These lyrics did go a little bit further than I remember. But I at the same time, I still think it's banter.
No, I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying it could be used. If I heard the song, I wouldn't freak out. I wouldn't go, "Oh my God."
I want you to hear it.
I just think it's a teachable moment. But I don't. But this is what happens with Kevin Hart. It happened with Roseanne. It's happening again. Like, why does everything have to be banned?
Oh.
Like, why can't we have a conversation? Like, there's people in the chat that think it's ridiculous. There's people in the chat that think it's valid. Let's have a conversation. Why does everything have to be banned? Why does Roseanne have to be kicked off of her show because she said some racist shit on Twitter?
Yeah.
Why does Kevin Hart have to step down? Like, I don't understand this. Like, let's talk to each other.
Yeah.
We can learn. We'll do so much better as a society and as a planet if we can talk to each other. But, it's...
Yeah, when did that start?
It's this outrage culture, and everybody, like, everything has to be banned. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's very, doesn't it remind you, I know this is going to sound really extreme, but does it remind you at all of communism? Like, they have an idea and then shuts down everything else?
It's a form of fascism, and I hate to say it, but it's usually people on the left that are, like, but then Kevin Hart is usually somebody that people on the left would protect because he's a black male. Mm-hmm. But even they're cannibalizing Kevin Hart, it's like, and then of course there's that other guy, I forgot, Nick Cannon, who posted Lena Dunham and all these other people that were making homophobic tweets 10, 15 years ago. Should they be banned from? And then you have to grovel to the group that you offended. So Roseanne's supposed to go to black people and just grovel that she, instead of
I think an apology is good.
Well, why does she need?
What? If she said something racist and then she, like...
Yeah, if she genuinely meant it, but we don't even have any people... We can't even know if anybody genuinely means anything anymore because we can't talk to each other because you're immediately banned if you say something crazy. It's weird, man. It's strange to me. Back in the day, we used to do that, as we were trying to ban Marilyn Manson and we were trying to make it so that he couldn't say what he wanted to say, and it was the leftists that were pushing the free speech thing.
Who's the we?
Religious right. They were trying to ban Marilyn Manson. You can't have this. They were going after the FCC, making people, you couldn't say certain things on TV. Mm-hmm. That was coming from the right.
Right.
The right was always trying to, impinge, and then the left was always saying, no, free speech, let people say what they want. And now it's completely flipped.
Yep.
Now the leftists are trying to eradicate everything that doesn't, and then they put hate speech on everything. It's come on, man. It's weird. This is why we have middle America. That's true. Very, very true. Right, Tipper Gore. You guys are so getting banned for this video.
Bond.
What's going on, Pastega 78? Vin, you should be a politician.
Yeah, he would be a good one.
Are they really telling them to ban them? Doesn't a company have the right to do what they want if it'll be isn't that an argument for capitalism? Yes, it's an argument for capitalism. That wasn't my point. Who am I talking to?
Can you hear me?
What's up? Talk to me.
Hold on.
Who am I talking to?
Wait a minute. Can you hear me?
What's up?
Hold on 1 second.
Talk to me.
I have to mute.
What?
Wait a minute.
Okay, this isn't working.
Okay, hi, it's Becky.
Okay, what's up, Becky? Talk to me. What's up?
Alright, I'm gonna paste the actual movie clip of that song. Okay? You will see them flirting. It's not the way you're saying it. I'm pasting it.
Yeah, but what about the lyrics that we read, though?
Just watch it. Before you say anything else, watch it.
So ignore the lyrics.
Just please, watch it.
Well, I'm waiting for you to post it.
Well, you'll get it in a minute.
Okay, is this on Facebook or is this in the chat?
It's in the chat, and it's YouTube. And it's the skit right there in the movie.
Is it going to let you post it?
There's MDF fan. You need context. People keep telling me I need context anytime there's some offensive shit that people do. I need context.
You do need context.
Vin, stop being stubborn. Well, I'm waiting for this clip that's supposed to give me some context for this.
All right, I'm going to do it in Facebook.
All right, do it, because I don't see it.
All right, I don't know why.
I want to watch it, because My homegirl Jen is saying that it makes it worse when you look at it. So I'm still skeptical. I'm still skeptical. I'm still the only feminist in the house apparently. The rest of y'all done abandoned the movement. All right.
You don't always
Becky,
look like a feminist.
What's good, Becky? Send it on Facebook, por favor.
I'm doing it right now.
What are you doing?
Sending it to them.
Sending what?
The actual movie clip.
You there, man?
I'm here, bruh.
How you doing?
What's good, buddy?
That's alright.
Thanks for the gifts. Hi.
Leah of the Village in the house.
Hey, you ever see the version where Lady Gaga sings this song?
No.
No.
Roles are reversed. Can't be so sexist. It's not always male and female.
That's true.
Yep.
Hold on, I'm looking at this right now. Hold up, guys. I'm watching the video clip. Oh, there's a spiked drink, babe. That's true.
No.
Right now, hold up, guys. I'm watching the video clip. Hold on. Hey. Oh, there's a spiked drink, babe. Hold on. Well, if
Can
we
you
do
pull it
that,
up on this?
no, I'm just gonna. True in this case. Hey, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
I'm talking to the chat. Because we just fried everybody's brain on the chat. Can you guys still hear me? I need a new eardrum.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I'm not sorry. I'm doing this for the movement. Alright, so I'm going to go find this link. I just saw, the only thing I saw was the dude spike the drink. I saw the guy spike the drink. The
Okay,
girl,
so they can hear us.
Alright, she hear it.
Watch it.
Alright, here it is. Here's the clip. Here's the clip.
An evening that started out so badly, it has definite possibility.
Turn it up.
No, before you drink the whole say true.
So it's a Spanish fella. Immediately, no, you can't trust him.
You did not.
Where's your papers? Isn't that what I'm supposed to say, you Trump people?
You know, on second thought,
Yes?
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
Hoping that you
so
drop in.
very nice.
He took off her jacket!
They're just like
My
ice.
mother will start to worry.
Beautiful, what's your
My
hurry?
father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to the fireplace
So
roar.
really, I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't
Well,
hurry.
maybe just to have a drink more.
Put some records on while I
The
fall.
neighbors might
But baby, it's bad out there.
Hey, what's in this
No
drink?
cabs to be had out there.
I wish I knew
Your
how
eyes are like stars
to
right now.
break this spell.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks swell.
Say no, no, no.
Mind if I move in
At least
closer?
never say that I
What's
tried.
the sense of hurting my
I
pride?
really can't
Oh,
say.
baby, don't hold out,
Oh,
baby.
but
It's cold outside.
I simply
He keeps taking off her clothes. Look at she's looking at her elbow.
is
Baby,
no.
it's cold outside.
So welcome has been
Lucky that you dropped
so
in.
nice and warm.
Look out the window.
You will be
It's not even that cold out there. It wasn't. There was no snow. Look at that, babe. There's no snow on the ground.
look at the distance.
There's
It's all
there's
snow.
no snow on the ground
There is
whatsoever.
too.
That's why he closed the curtain. I don't want you to see that there's nothing but asphalt and grass down there. Wow. Jen was right. This video is worse. The girl keeps putting her jacket on. He keeps disrobing her, Becky. I don't know how this helps your case.
I don't think it helps either.
How does this help you? He keeps taking her clothes off.
See, back in that time, listen, back in that time, women were little flowers and men were all powerful, right? So
This
it
is
was
worse.
him flirting with her, and she was flirting back.
How is she flirting back? She kept trying to leave. You kept grabbing her. You wouldn't let her go.
Yeah, he's going, come on. She's like, no, I can't.
Right.
It's like,
And then he grabs her and takes off her jacket.
Kept taking her arm.
Like 2 or 3 times he took off her jacket.
He blocked the door.
He blocked the door. He hid the window so she couldn't see that there was no fucking snow outside.
Oh no.
you guys are ridiculous. Then you're ridiculous. They're just flirting.
How am I ridiculous? I don't think it's... You think that this flirting is mutual?
Yes.
When he grabbed her elbow as she was trying to vacate the premise and she looked down at her elbow and then back at him?
They said keep watching the video because apparently...
I saw this movie when I was a kid. I remember the scene. It is old school.
Okay, we're going to keep watching.
That storm.
You will be.
Gosh, your lips look
My
delicious.
brother will be there.
More taking off clothes.
Just watch it.
Gosh, your lips.
She's fleeing.
Well, maybe
He
you
grabs her elbow again.
Never such a blizzard before.
got to get
But
home.
baby, you freeze out there.
Say, lend me a
It's up
coat.
to your knees out there.
You've really been
Puts his hand on the knee.
Shush.
How can you do this thing to me?
Bound to be talked
Think
tomorrow.
of my lifelong
At least there
sorrow.
will be plenty implied.
If you got pneumonia and
I
I
really can't
get over
stay.
that old doubt,
Ah, but
baby,
it's cold outside.
This is creepy as hell.
really can't
Baby,
stay.
it's cold outside.
Got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening I've
Been hoping that you'd drop
so
me.
very nice.
I'll hold your hand. They're just like
My
ice.
mother will start to worry.
Beautiful.
Run, my brother. Oh,
She
no!
disrobes him.
Flee!
Fireplace
Flee!
Better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't
La ilaha
worry.
illallah. I've seen enough!
Okay, so this just goes. There are creepy people on both sides, both male and female.
She's playing hard to get, also known as she doesn't want to be grabbed.
Yeah, Vin, we should do a version of this.
No.
We should. We could reenact it and be hilarious.
No.
What?
So now he's convinced you.
You'll put
Well,
you'll put
the-
something about the plantation or some evil shit like that.
The video didn't help.
The video was not helpful.
Oh, come
Okay,
on.
wait. Let it be known that I would want you to do that with me, though. I would want you to keep convincing me to stay.
I know that, but we've had a previous conversation. We've had multiple conversations about those things. That's as much as we're saying. But this young lady, she was trying to escape.
Acceptable
Huh?
back in the time. It's not like he's trying to rape her. He's just flirting with her. You guys are too young.
I do.
Fine.
I do
I
think he
agree.
wanted to have sex with her. That is what it looked like.
I'll tell you one thing.
No, look at. Yeah, no, because Vin would be shot by the cops. Exactly, best owner. All Sawyer would have to do is, white woman in distress. Hey!
He took my hat.
Hey, listen to John.
All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
If you gotta give credit to women to be able to say no to whatever they don't want to do. Have you ever tried to convince a wife to let you buy another guitar? That shit ain't happening.
I agree.
Yeah, but
I'm with you
she was
100%.
saying no.
Right?
She said no multiple times.
Yeah, but you're taking it out of context of the time.
Yeah,
So
but
he's not talking about he's not saying I want to go freaking jump into bed. Back then it was like just to sit down and kiss or whatever was like taboo. He wasn't talking about going to bed with her.
Are
He
you
was talking
sure?
about come and snuggle with me.
he was. That's how you're taking it. He was grabbing her by the arm.
That's how it was back then. That wasn't even thought of. You didn't even think about. That was like what sluts do.
Emily,
Back then.
Emily,
Back then it was just like.
Emily,
you know,
hold on, Emily. We saw the part with the aggressive young lady and the man trying to flee.
Was there more after?
It wasn't like that. You guys are making it sound like it's something, you know.
Hey, Ben, did you see Newsweek's thing? It was either this week or last week about how God impregnated Mary against her will?
Yeah, that was a stupid argument because Mary actually said in Luke chapter 2, "Be it done to me as you say." So she did give her consent. Yeah. Guy didn't know the Bible.
That same argument is being made for... I thought that was ridiculous also, but news we got out of there.
Yeah, it was. They forgot that little portion in Luke chapter 2 where Mary explicitly said, "Yes, I want this to happen to me."
Right. That's true.
So, all right, Becky, thank you. I definitely see your point. You're saying that even though he was taking off her clothes and kept grabbing her and blocking...
It wasn't her clothes, it was her jacket, her coat.
That's her clothes, isn't it?
Take your coat off and stay a while. No. It was not. You guys are putting a modern twist on something that happened a long time ago when they didn't even think about going to bed.
I don't...
It was...
Yeah, so you're saying he didn't want to have sex with her at all?
Not in that moment. He wanted to be with her and hang out with her and flirt with her. He wasn't talking about, okay, let's go have sex.
Are you sure?
In that time frame, you didn't think that way.
Are you sure?
That would have been taboo. That would have been taboo.
I don't know. I think he would... I mean, I don't know. The way he was looking at homegirl, it looked to me like he wanted to be fruitful and multiply with that lady.
You are... Just because you are seeing this, that you could do this, doesn't mean he could do it.
Hey, I'm not the only one. My man, Batushka Official is saying he 100% wanted it.
Oh my gosh, Josh.
You guys are youngins. You don't get it.
I guess I don't. It's her fault her lips are delicious. That's right. He was saying her lips were delicious.
Well, of course he was.
Nothing
He was
sexual
looking
about
for
that
her.
at all. Nothing sexual about that at all.
It's what you don't understand. That was not something that you did back then.
People didn't have sex back then? How are we here then if people didn't have sex back then?
You didn't jump into that immediately. He was flirting with her.
Vince is getting a reaction out of you.
John says you're just trying to get a reaction out of me and you're playing.
Well, I'm half... I think...
You are just trying to get attention.
Sis, I think that you... What do you mean I'm trying to get an attention? I have a YouTube channel, of course. But
Right.
but
Yeah.
but I
You're
think
trying to just
I think you're emotionally connected to this song and you're not seeing it for what it is.
I don't think they're that emotionally connected to the song.
Nobody had sex until the 2000s.
Oh, come on.
All right, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Thanks
Love
for
you.
calling. We love you.
Becky. Nah, man, the video makes it worse. Taking off her jacket, taking off her hat. You see how she looked at him when he grabbed her elbow? She's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
This guy's been trying to call.
Hey, who's this?
D McNuts.
What's up, Mr. Nuts?
Nothing much. How you doing, man?
What's up, bruh?
Nothing. This whole song, it's fucking ridiculous.
What do you mean?
It's an old song. People are taking it out of context, as most people are nowadays.
I keep hearing that, my brother. In what context is it? Okay. Is it good to? Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. For example, the song's made in the 40s, 50s, maybe 60s.
Okay.
And people are just now getting offended by it.
Yeah, I think that's weird. This is the first time I've ever read the lyrics of the song. So.
Yeah, sure, the lyrics are super creepy. I mean, we had to sing the thing in elementary school for chorus class. I didn't think anything of it then.
But, I mean, you agree they're creepy as hell, right?
Oh yeah, they're creepy as hell, but just people are getting their panties in a bunch about nothing that really matters that much,
I mean, I could see it from both sides. Here's what I mean by that. I think that this whole thing, if you've ever dealt with people who've actually been assaulted, alcohol, manipulation, poor me, you're hurting my pride, all of those things have gone into people actually being sexually assaulted.
It's true.
And so to make light of that type of thing, I think is a problem. However, I also know, especially because of the woman I'm with now, that there is an element of hard to get that's part of the game that that happens between men and women when you're trying to, there's that back and forth cat and mouse thing because girls like to be pursued, and so from a perspective of like a Sori where she's like, oh, I would love to do that. I wouldn't just say sure.
I'd be upset if you let me leave with so easily.
Right. So Sori's like, she's a different animal,
Right.
with that. But I also think, I just think that it's probably a social overcorrection, but I definitely think that the lyrics are creepy as hell. And to pretend that the lyrics aren't creepy to me is disingenuous. I can't, like you said,
100% agree with you.
Like you're saying, I don't think we should ban the song, but the lyrics are creepy, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, the song, it's been over and done with. I mean, there's plenty of music out there with more obscene lyrics, like, why are we making a deal out of a song that's 50 years old?
Right. Well, I saw a meme, something about, like, let's ban Baby It's Cold Outside, but by all means, let's play Cardi B. Which Cardi B is my favorite rapper right now.
Yeah, I really just, I wanted to give you guys a new band to look up. That's the main reason why I called you.
Okay.
I was interested in the conversation that we were doing, but I just really want to give you guys a new band to look at.
You're the first person that told us to look at a band after a call-in. Who is it?
That's not true.
All right, they're called Church of the Cosmic Skull.
I've heard of them.
Have you?
I've heard of them. I haven't heard of their stuff, but what's the song?
Shit, I'd have to look it up to get a specific song. They only have a couple popular ones. They're out of England, but they played some pretty big shows, and they're scheduled to eventually come over to the U.S., but they basically have, like, a whole different belief on, like, kind of religion, for that matter, but some people think of them as a cult. I just think of them as a band with a theme.
Well, get me like a song title. Like, what's the best Church of the Cosmic Skull song?
I'm afraid to close this app in fear I lose you guys. Otherwise, I'd be able to find it right now.
Okay, say it in the chat, bruh.
I'll find it in the chat, yeah.
Okay. Much love to you, my guy.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye.
Peace. All right, one of these days, Jen is going to call in. But the song is definitely creepy. Definitely creepy. But
it's so funny because the
I don't think you can.
The little movie made it so much worse.
The movie's terrible. God Almighty.
Because in the song, like, I don't picture her like making faces like, no, like, I need to go, or like trying. Like, it was just to me like she was saying, oh, I should, but like she's trying to put her gear back on.
Yeah,
He's
Jen was
peeling
like,
it off.
the movie is worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said the movie makes it worse.
I'm like,
Vin, since black culture and hip hop culture are now pop culture, when is the cultural appropriation no longer a valid complaint? I never thought cultural appropriation was ever a valid complaint, ever. Nobody owns any culture. Cultures are made by people. And so if you've got black folks who are descended from Africans in America, guess what? That's now American culture. That's my perspective on it. I think it's ridiculous. Secondly, the folks who are claiming they're African descendants, and I'm one of them, even when we do African versions of things from our ancestors, they're done in a modernized way. They're not done in the way that our descendants did them. So even the African culture is still being modernized and assimilated and co-opted into American culture, which should happen because we're Americans. So I've always thought that the cultural appropriation argument was stupid. I think it's dumb. I don't understand. It was like that black girl was going after the dude for wearing dreads.
oh, yeah.
And she put his hands on him and all that shit.
She did, yeah.
He's lucky he didn't shove her down the stairs.
I know.
You can't do that to somebody.
Well, she was doing it.
It's ridiculous. So anyway, I think it's dumb.
Did you see, Jen? Don't pressure me into calling in.
I won't. I was just making a statement. Do you think it's offensive for women to wear Indian headdresses? You mean like hijabs? This one has worn hijabs a bunch of times. We've got it in the thingamajig. I just think the cultural appropriation stuff is just stupid. I think it's ridiculous.
Well, but you don't think that like because remember I had that picture where I was wearing
Yeah, that's not cultural appropriation. That was you making fun of or using it.
I wasn't making fun of.
As it was a costume.
It was a costume.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
I had why can't I think of it? An afro. Before I met Vin, I was like wearing it. I did like a photo shoot, and one of them I was wearing an afro.
Who's this?
Rich.
Hey.
Hi.
What's
How
up,
are
Rich?
ya?
Talk to
What
me,
up?
bruv.
Congrats. Sorry, I didn't talk to you last time.
Thank you.
I'm the Trump supporter. And the whole thing is liberals love to eat each other. Taking down Kevin Hart for a tweet from 10 years ago seems a bit rough.
It's ridiculous. And have you seen Nick Cannon post Lena Dunham and all these other white comedians? So now the leftists are in a real bind because you went after a black guy for doing it. So if you don't go after those two, now we're going to say you're racist.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yep.
Liberals are really racist. When California struck down Title 45, they disowned the blacks, really.
it's true.
They got mad.
It's very, very true. That's why that's kind of like that was like one of the 18 million reasons I shot the Margaret Sanger video, because there's this myth that leftists have always been pro-black and people on the right wing have always been racist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not true.
Full of shit.
So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%, my guy.
They're eating each other now.
Hey,
Kevin
did you...
Spacey, all of them. They eat it their own.
You're the one that I sent the Middle America thing to, right? The hoodie?
I didn't get it yet, but you said before Christmas.
Yep,
They'll be coming.
Yeah, I got an email update. It's in the mail, so it's coming to you, my guy.
Oh, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Make sure that you take a picture, though, my dude.
I will.
All right.
100%. 100%.
Much love to you, my guy.
Much love.
Bye.
And do Melissa. Merciful Fate.
I got
Much
you.
better
Yeah,
song.
that's Melissa's coming soon. That's a big one.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you
Merry
too.
Christmas. Ian, I love the Margaret Sanger video. I knew none of that shit. It was so eye-opening. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I bet.
Oh, Ian,
I bet it was eye-opening.
the reason, biblically
Evil
speaking, that a
bastards.
woman is supposed to cover her head when she prays is because if you'll remember back like before, the angels kind of like worked together to kind of like usurp the authority that they were under, and then that was like the fall that happened of the angels, and then so now it says that like a woman would cover her head when she's praying or when she's prophesying to show that she is under the authority of her husband. It doesn't mean that he's like ruling over her like with an iron fist. It just means that they have an understanding of how things will work, in the sense it's tough because you use certain words and then everybody gets all triggered because they think that, oh, like the woman is being like abused or like in this horrible situation. It's just, like at your job you have your boss, and then you have the other different people. Everybody has their roles and their positions, and it's the same thing like within a marriage. Like nobody is less of a person or beneath the other person, but everybody has their roles, and you're basically saying, look, I know my role, you know your role, and like we're going to do this so that way we can accomplish the mission that we're on. And so it says that she would cover her head for the sake of the angels. So, it's under my understanding that it's so that way the angels can see, oh, okay, like even though this woman is looking super powerful as she's praying or she's prophesying, it's still showing that she still understands that they're like the way that everything is going, and she's not gonna, like the craziness that happened with the angels, like these people are not gonna do that kind of craziness.
Well, God, one. If we're talking about Frenchies and women, ask so off anyone. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. those little sayings.
I don't agree that the leftists are racist. They're just going about it the wrong way. Well, I disagree with you. They're racist as hell. Hey, Vin, what's your thought on the yellow vest movement going on? I think it's very dangerous when you tell rioting people that their rioting is going to get them what they want. Because even if the current issue that they're rioting over is just, you're essentially telling your people that if you can get enough people together to riot, you can influence the government to do whatever you want them to do. And I think that that's a pretty crazy precedent. And I think the people who are celebrating that should proceed with caution, especially considering Islamic European relationships, because that could blow up into something that people don't perceive. Who am I talking to?
Sonia.
Talk to me, Zonia.
Figured I'd call in and talk about racism a bit.
Yes, let's do it. Are you going to tell me that only right-wingers are racist? Leftists don't have a racist bone in their bodies.
No, I'm going to... Well, actually, my cat here is pretty racist. You're going to hear him yelling a bunch of slurs in the background. But he's quite a leftist, too. No, I'm actually going to say that there's a lot of racism on both the left and the right. And there are a number of problems with the way that it's addressed. The left obviously has the problem of overusing the term racist. So people on the right or anybody who's genuinely maliciously targeting groups of people has an easy out by saying, oh, well, they just call everybody racist.
Right.
That's one of the problems, of course. So it's just like with any word, it loses its power the more you throw it around and cry wolf with it. The other problem is that people are really quick. Sorry, my cat is really happy to just chat with me right now.
Because you're talking to a black guy, Zonia, that's why.
Well, he's a black cat.
Racist ass. Well, he's one of those W.E.B. Du Bois black cats. Go ahead.
Sorry, Puka. He's talking shit about you. Yeah. So here's an interesting thing. So when somebody says, or even just thinks to themselves that they're not racist, there's a problem in that. One, do you also tell yourself you're not a murderer? Tell people you're not a murderer? Of course not.
Right.
Right? Because you're not. Unless you were. Then people would, if you started saying, hey, I'm not a murderer, people would be like, okay, you're probably a murderer.
Right. Right.
So just the whole notion of trying to tell others or even tell yourself that you're not a racist is just a ridiculous thing. And it gives you a pass. So when you do have like an implicit bias, or you make a biased decision based on culture, ethnicity, etc., you'll pretty much just ignore it because you've convinced yourself that you're not racist.
Right.
And there is plenty of racism and double standards on the left.
Well, let me give you an example.
Okay.
Right? So somebody called in last week. They said Farrakhan was a racist. And then I said, okay, give me the exact quote. They didn't have the quote. Then I quoted Margaret Sanger say something explicitly racist. And they immediately started going into PolitiFact and all this other shit to exonerate her of racism. Yeah. But Farrakhan, they didn't even have the quote, but they knew immediately that he was racist.
Exactly.
So it's like, what?
Yeah.
And then even after the video, there were still people saying, well, you got to understand the context and the blah, blah, all the justifications that people that support Trump, when he says something sideways, use to justify Trump, they've used to justify Margaret Sanger. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
yeah,
so
the double standard is there.
Right.
And people kind of whitewash a bunch of problems, not just racism, but any kind of contentious problem that casts doubt on their side.
Right. Right. Especially...
Yeah, it's a problem. And unfortunately, I think it's with the growing political tribalism, I think we're allowing more and more despicable behavior to go unpunished on the left.
I agree.
So, it's a serious problem. I'm very hesitant to use the term racist. You know, like a guy like David Duke, I would definitely call a racist. You know, he has had very clear definitions of, you know, of what his long-term agenda is. And it's very clearly defined. He sees the Jewish population as being something that is a problem and a threat, and it needs to be dealt with. And he's been very clear about that. He's written books on the subject. And so there is, you know, malicious tribalist behavior in that I would describe as racist.
Well, and then there's, to Yan's point, this is a global issue. It's not only one way where racism only happens to black people from white people. This is a global issue. And of course, being a Christian, my assumption is that everybody's going to be racist to some degree because of the concept of original sin. And my question has always been, why is racism like the unforgivable, unredeemable sin? Like, so Roseanne says something crazy while she's, you know, hopped up on her night, you know, her sleeping pills, and now she loses her show. Like, why do we have to overreact to this stuff? Why can't we talk to each other?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's, it shouldn't be, because nobody learns if people get abandoned for their behavior. All you do is you just push them off into a corner. We should have learned by now that all the shaming of racist behavior that we did in the 70s and 80s didn't solve the problem, because now we've got very extreme far-right movements that have come out from the woodwork and are actually gaining in strength. And obviously the more racially charged elements of that on the far right weren't quelled by what we did with, you know, various legislation and shaming that we did of racist behavior throughout the 70s and 80s. So, you know, alienating someone for their racism clearly doesn't solve the problem. It just allows it to fester, and if anything, it become worse.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from personal experience that I'm very thankful that coworkers of mine in my young adulthood were extremely tolerant of my cultural insensitivity, because I grew up in a very white town and didn't really, and at a certain point in my life, I was actually very genuinely racist when I was 14 and 15 years old, and I said some extremely racist things and had some racist beliefs, and I learned because people were tolerant of me and gave me a chance.
Well, it's the same thing with me now. When I hear my LGBT friends talk and what words are that they consider slurs and things like that, I say to myself, well, shit. When I was hanging around with them a decade ago, I was saying all that shit, but they just kind of looked the other way in order to continue to have a relationship with me. See what I'm saying? And so it's like,
well, hopefully you learn from example.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've learned now. I've learned to actually, listen to what people are saying. But I think we're all growing, and to take something that somebody said 15 years ago, or to take what somebody said when they're hopped up on sleeping pills. Like, I get, you're right. A guy like David Duke is very consistent. He's got a plan, that's different than the regular Joe who can be reasoned with. David Duke has already made his decision about the type of person he's going to be and the type of world that he wants to see. But I don't believe that the vast majority of people who say racist shit are that intentional about the world that they're trying to create. A lot of it just has to do with upbringing, where they're from, the various fears that they have, the lack of access to other people who are not like them, those types of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about, so tolerance goes both ways. You got the left arguing for the right to be more tolerant of people's differences. Well,
Yeah.
the left has to be more tolerant of the right's, differences as well. So, and that goes, it doesn't matter which side you're on. If you want people to get along and you want people to prosper, well, then you have to be willing to accept that there are flaws in people that you're not going to like. And if you alienate them because of their flaws, then they're not going to learn from them. They're just going to become shunned, and they're going to find other people of like mind that they can, fester with, essentially,
Well, see,
and have an echo chamber with.
See, Sonia, that's why you need to have the Christian doctrine of original sin, because if you have that, then you're much more able to accept people's shortcomings.
Right.
You got to
Well, I
admit,
didn't have it.
huh?
I didn't have it, and I'm able to accept people's shortcomings.
You got to admit that doctrine carries a lot of utility, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think some of it is based on common sense. Even though I don't believe the origin of the story itself, I think that over time people had to realize that we need to get along or we're all going to kill each other. Especially back in those times, it was very bloody.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's really starting to bug me a lot, seeing how severe it's gotten. I mean, some of my own coworkers, I was just having a discussion with some of my coworkers in our online chat system, our internal chat system. And when one of them found out that I followed PewDiePie, they were like, "Seriously, you follow PewDiePie? That guy's a fucking racist." And they were getting on my case about it. And so I pulled them off into a side chat to avoid, because it's one of those chat channels where we talk a lot about politics. And honestly, it's kind of dangerous to do in work, but we generally have an agreement to, keep it on the level. But I pulled it into a side conversation, and I explained to them why I'm thankful that people were tolerant of me and my cultural insensitivity in my young adulthood at work, and that, Indian and African and general Asian coworkers didn't shun me and didn't try to get me fired, but instead, accepted me as a friend and accepted me with my flaws, and I learned over time. And so when I explained that to them, they were kind of like, "Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense," but they still wanted to stick to their guns and shun a guy like PewDiePie. And I was trying to explain to them, like, dude lives in Sweden, which is like 95% white. Right? How many black people does he know?
Right. Right.
Right? How many people with any kind of melanin in their skin at all does he really know? Right. So it's not going to have a lot of exposure to other cultures, and so you got to give him a chance and let him learn from his mistakes and learn from examples.
The guy's not even 30 years old yet.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough because at the age of 18, I was working in the corporate world with people of multiple ethnicities. So I got my exposure a little early. And when I was 15, I lived in a black neighborhood for the better part of that year. So that also exposed me to black culture, and I got my ass kicked a few times for being a racist asshole.
I'd have had your back, Z.
Aww.
I'd have had you, unless the fellas are too big, in which case I would have had you at the hospital. I'd have took care of it.
I would have brought you the flowers.
I'd have brought you the flowers.
And kind of like what Sori was saying right before I called about, cultural norms with things like covering one's head and such. As much as I don't like what I see in a lot of Islamic practice, and especially in Middle Eastern countries that are, or even Eastern Asian countries that are Muslim government, as much as I don't like what I see, I can't really say for certain what the situation is. So I don't want to go blaming, Islam or blaming their government for, requiring women to cover themselves up, because I don't really know the whole story behind it. I don't live in that culture, but I know that we've got a mosque right here in my neighborhood, and the Muslim women in this neighborhood cover their hair up, and they're nice people, and I get along with them. Some of them are my coworkers, so I just I trust that they are living the life that they want to live here in America, and that's as much as I can do about it.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with the practice. But
What
I
practice?
can't really, I can't really cast judgment because I don't really know enough about it from an internal perspective.
What practice? The hijab?
Well, yeah, the covering, the veiling. We have a few that are Saudi families here, and so there are a couple that actually wear the niqab, and that's a little bit of a culture shock for a lot of people here to see someone with their face covered, except for the eye slits. That can be shocking for some people.
Yeah.
We have a Sikh temple here, and the one thing that I think is pretty cool about the Sikh religion is that you can't apply any rule to one gender and not the other. So any of within the doctrine, any rule that is applied to one person applies to them regardless of their gender.
That's cool. That's a good one. That's a good one. Muslim women burn their hijabs as soon as they can. That's ridiculous, Meshuggah.
No, that's not true.
I don't know how. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of women, particularly in younger generations, who would love to revolt and burn their hijab. There's been that movement in Saudi Arabia and as well in Iran of, I forget what the movement is called, but where they unveil themselves and they have like protected spaces where they can do it regardless of who is around, male or female. And there's a hashtag that they'll sometimes share a picture of themselves and like blur their face, but show themselves unveiled with the hashtag. I forget what the movement was. It was started a few years ago. So obviously there's some kind of a revolutionary movement going on to say you can't dictate how I dress myself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are a lot of women who wouldn't voluntarily choose the hijab, but I also know a lot of women who do. And I think there's a sort of ethnocentric Western fashion standards are freedom, and then any other sort of fashion standards are not freedom. And I obviously don't believe that. So, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where people on the left also get a little, as you mentioned it earlier, a little fascist with it, where it's like, you're going to get our freedom whether you like it or not, right?
Right. But that's like this unconscious ethnocentrism that Westerners have, that their version of freedom and liberation is translatable across the globe. I know a lot of women who are on the Islamic side that have asked me, like, if the women if they have to dress the way that they do, as far as revealing as they do. And to them, that's not freedom. So it just depends on a lot of this is culture bound. So I said, well, some of them don't want to dress like that, but there's a lot of cultural pressure too. And then there are those who love to dress like that, just like you. Some of you are culture bound to wear hijab, and some of you want to do it because it's coming from inside. So, I mean, that's kind of how I look at it,
Yeah, the one area that I don't like, that I don't agree with, and I definitely have a problem with, is when I hear the excuse that, if you reveal too much of yourself, you're inviting the man to lose control and rape you.
Yeah.
And
that's bullshit.
That's total bullshit.
That's bullshit.
I thought you were, because you're putting on the woman and the victim,
Right.
putting it on to them to make all these accommodations for you not developing emotionally and mentally.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what you're wearing or not wearing. A rapist is going to rape you, period.
Yeah, and it doesn't jive with the core religion that it spawns from, right? The core religion, the Judeo religion, which is something I disagree with, claims that humans are above the animals, are greater than the animals, or created after animals in the image of God. The Tanakh says that, right? Or the Torah.
Yeah.
And that exists in the Christian Bible and in the Quran. So the statement there is you are greater than the animals and made in the image of God, and therefore if you can't control your sexuality, your ravenous, raging hormones, then you're basically showing that you are not greater than the animals, that you are operating on base animal instincts.
Right.
So it seems to not even jive with the core religion.
It doesn't. Right. We'll have the image of God discussion next time, because I've yet to really run into a person who consistently believes that we're just another set of animals.
Oh, that's me, 100%.
No, you don't.
Homo sapien, 100% right here.
All right. Thank you very much, Sonia. It was a very informative discussion as always.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Much love to you.
All right. Bye.
So we've come to a consensus, ladies and gentlemen. Baby It's Cold Outside has creepy lyrics. Probably shouldn't be banned, but a learning moment shouldn't be banned. It's free speech. People can sing, whatever. But it's creepy as hell. And everybody's basically racist. That's what we figured out. Vin, serious question. I know that your belief in Christ is ultimate, so I'm not asking you about to doubt God, but do you think it's possible could be wrong and infallible? Do I think it's possible that they're right? What do you mean? I think that the autographa, the original manuscript of the Bible, is infallible because it was inspired by God, but are you talking about translation or transmission? That goes to the discipline called textual criticism, which I've spent a pretty penny on because I've always been very, very curious about that. So, like, the differences between the received text versus Alexandrian text and da-da-da-da-da, and that whole debate. I don't know if you're familiar with that debate. You're probably not. I jumped right in the middle of it. So, no, I do not think that the original inspired texts are fallible at all. But I do think that... and when I say infallible... Let me give you an example. Biblical cosmology is that the world is flat and that there is a canopy over it, right? You see, if we ever get to do Genesis chapter 1 or whatever, we'll be able to see it. But it's clear that the person who, the folks who wrote the Old Testament believed that the world was flat, had four corners, and then there was like a dome canopy that, And I think, how does that jive with, obviously that's scientifically not true. How does that jive with my understanding of infallibility? And my answer to that is that the questions that Genesis 1 is designed to answer are not scientific questions, they're theological questions. And so the infallibility comes from the fact that God is the creator. But when these folks are writing, I don't think God said, actually, no, the world is spherical, it's an oblong whatever, and so I need to correct that. I think he said, okay, let's get that out of the way. Okay, sure, whatever. It's a square, whatever you think. And let's talk about the real issues, which is you're in the image of God, yada 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 yada. So if you're looking at the Bible, if you define infallibility as 1,000% scientifically correct, of course not. Of course, if you held that standard with your local news anchor who said something like sunrise is at 5:45 and sunset is at 6 p.m., then you run into a problem, right? Because the sun doesn't rise and it doesn't set. He's speaking phenomenologically. The issue is that your meteorologist is trying to answer a question, which is, when is day going to break and when is night going to fall? That's the question. He's not asking about heliocentrism versus geocentrism. So long story short, if the Bible is infallible in regard to what it means to relate to God and what it means to relate to other people, as far as scientific reference, no, I don't think that the Bible is designed to answer those questions. So if you try to make the Bible fit into a peg where it's not meant to be, then you're going to have problems. But anything about life, human interaction, God, how we should treat each other, how we should treat God, etc., that's completely infallible. There's Ron. Ron, who I can tell has done a lot of work, a lot of homework on religion, is saying fiction. Okay, Ron. Question: if the Bible is written by people and people are full of sin, couldn't they have lied or even exaggerated the Bible? Well, Christians believe that God superintended the authorship of the Bible. So, yeah, people can do whatever they want, but if God wants a message communicated, then he can override that. Everybody likes your hair. I guess they've never seen you this way.
No, I haven't done it like that. It's been years since I've done it like this.
But if it's wrong on some things, it should have been absolutely clear. Why do we separate something and say they're absolutely accurate? What do you mean, Matt, in nutrition? My point is that the Bible was never intended to be a science book. So God knows that the Earth is a sphere, and God knows that there's some galaxy over there somewhere doing whatever. It's not relevant to what he was trying to communicate. The message that he was trying to communicate is who we are and who he is and how we're supposed to interact with each other and what went wrong with the world and how to fix the world. Like, for example, we're a very scientifically advanced people in 2018, and we've murdered 55 million of our own countrymen. So, because we don't understand that we're all created in the image of God. So you can have all the scientific knowledge you want, but you're just going to use that knowledge to do evil shit if you don't understand what a human being is and who God is. And so God, in his area, in his, scale of priorities, wants to make sure that we get the main things down right. And once we get the main things down right, you can build a society that then advances with science and culture. But if you have a society that doesn't have the main things right and they advance in society and culture, they're going to destroy they're going to destroy themselves. Which is, I just read something about how millennials are not replenishing, the population at the rate that it's supposed to happen at.
Oh my gosh!
And people are trying to blame bills, like the economic costs. And I said to the guy, I said, I don't know. Maybe it's because we told these kids to have as much sex as they wanted and have as much abortion on the man as they wanted. Now we're not replenishing our population. Yep. So there's some real basic stuff that us and our advanced scientific knowledge that we miss out on completely, and God knew that. So he could have. My firm belief is God could have written a giant science manual 6,000 years ago that would have told our forefathers everything we need to know about science. Great. What does that accomplish? None of us would be here because we'd all murder each other. So, there you are.
James Logan wants to know if we are Trump supporters. I said we support what he does that's good, and we don't support what he does that's wrong. He's like, lame answer.
Yeah, because he doesn't live in a world where you're not a part of any tribe.
Right.
Look at our channel, James. There's sometimes we've supported Trump when he's done good things, and there's other times when we've called him out when he's done bad things.
Right.
What do you guys think about meditation from a biblical perspective and also the Eastern religions form of meditation? Well, I think... Hey, what's up, BM fan? Good to see you, buddy. I think meditation is good. I think getting out away from people and getting the mind to focus on one thing is important. The Bible never says we should empty our minds and try to achieve nothingness. So I can't really comment much on Eastern practices of meditation, but there is a strong direction to meditate and dwell on the things of that the scripture talks about as far as the transcendent issues and things like that. And I think that's a very healthy practice. Premarital sex is 100% fine. I don't think so. I don't think premarital sex is 100% fine. Go to the CDC.com and validate that.
Yeah, somebody else here was saying that they're 31 years old and bills are the reason. Right here. I don't know how to say that. Bills are the reason I'm 31 and refuse to have kids.
Yeah. I understand that.
Pony, are you done setting it up? I thought I was still waiting on you.
Hey Vin, what about intertestamental literature? I think intertestamental literature is important. It's quoted a bunch of times in the New Testament and alluded to a bunch of more times in the New Testament. So it's absolutely important and central to understanding the milieu that Jesus and Paul and the rest of those guys were in, and which is why I spent a pretty penny on my Bible software program to make sure that I have access to them. Have you ever heard of astral projection and lucid dreaming? Yes.
Yep.
Safe sex is needed, so more education and access to contraception. Well, contra means against conception. So contraception is against conception. And the point that I made was millennials are not replenishing Western society at the rate that's necessary. So go for it. Have as much safe sex and contraception as you want. You can... chlamydia and all those things are not going to protect. You're not going to get protected from chlamydia by your safe sex, and your contraception is only going to make it so that. Think about this: in the next generation, we've got 5 kids.
For now.
So all you secularists that don't like my perspective on things and things like that, I don't even have to outvote you. We just have to wait you guys out. The next generation, we'll have our 5-6 kids on average. The Muslims will have their 4.8 kids on average, and secularists are having like 1.3. Mm-hmm. Just do the math. In Europe, it's over. It's over already. So this is what I mean, though, is that there are very, very basic things that we've lost as human beings, that we've become so intelligent beyond our wisdom that they're actually fueling our own self-destruction. Yep. But people don't get it. Yep. They don't understand.
Even the kids refine you in a way that you wouldn't get refined otherwise.
The clap is the hot sauce of sex. Oh my God.
I didn't understand that. Oh. I get it now.
Millennials are smart enough not to make themselves into slaves by rearing children the world doesn't need. Okay. Well, go for it, Mr. Nihilist. We'll see how that works out in a generation. Hey Vin, what's your belief on the occult? That's a very, very broad question.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah.
What do you think of the Catholic Church's ban on condoms in Africa? I think that's a bad play. And I'm not sure that the Catholic Church has the power to ban condoms on an entire continent. Like, Africa is a huge continent. Like, what do you mean? You gotta have to develop that for me, Jan. I think that's crazy. There is a finite amount of natural resource in the world the population needs to drastically reduce before we can reach a substantial existence. Okay, Tasco, that's from your friend Malthus, and that's just not true. And if that is the case, then how about we start with you? Now, I don't want to start with you. I'm just saying, who gets to determine which human beings we kill so that the rest of us can have resources? Everybody who always makes that argument that we're overpopulated and need to cull the environment, none of them want to volunteer as the ones that we should take off to take out of the planet. Right. Very interesting. Right. Vin, do you believe the cult is evil? Well, I think the vast majority of everything that happens is evil.
Is that true? The Pope is trying to change the Lord's Prayer? Have you heard anything about that?
I've never heard that the Pope was trying to... I've never heard that the Pope was trying to change the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is found in sacred scripture, and the Pope doesn't have the authority to amend sacred scripture. Yeah, Tasco, even your buddy BM fan is saying that that's not true. And what do you mean we need to stop reproducing? Who are you going to tell not to reproduce? Mm-hmm. Should we go to the Chinese and adopt their one child policy?
Look at that. I wonder if that's true. If every man, woman, and child on the planet was given 1 acre of land, we'd barely fill Australia.
It's actually been changed during the Mass. Well, the Mass has undergone, since Vatican II, the Mass has undergone some very interesting changes. So, yeah, I didn't think that would, but that doesn't affect the Lord's Prayer, which is actually a biblical text.
What do I think of a Twitch video being used as evidence for domestic abuse? I think it's great. Use that evidence. I'm not super familiar with the entire situation, but if somebody was doing Twitch and then got themselves involved in some domestic violence and then that's being used against them to convict them, I think that that's great.
You have 5 kids. Everyone else pays for them. I don't know what he's talking about.
We work.
Hey Vin, I'm gonna call about the. Right. I'm gonna call about the yellow vests. Go ahead, call about him.
I didn't see this Twitch video. Did you see it, honey?
You literally just said that millennials aren't reproducing as much as necessary. By that claim, you don't have to tell anyone not to reproduce. Just let the issue resolve. I don't understand anything of what you just said. I'm not being funny. I just don't understand how that's an argument. Hey, who am I talking to?
What's up, Vin? This is Nathan in Washington. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Nathan in Washington? What you up to, bruh?
Oh, nothing. Hey, quick aside. Other places, baby, it's cold outside. Washington, baby, it's raining outside.
Okay. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, it was pounding. It was pounding earlier today.
Oh, I see.
It rains a lot here. It was savage.
Savage.
Anyway, I wanted to mention... What?
No, go ahead. You're good.
Okay, so I wanted to... I found a pretty solid translation from French of the list of demands. I wanted your opinion on what they were asking for.
Okay. Hold on. Before I do that, and I'm probably going to have BM Fan call in here. BM Fan, be ready to call in because I'm assuming that you and BM Fan are going to be on opposite sides of this thing. But before I do that, just for the audience, it was a quote from the Washington Examiner that were saying millennials are causing a baby bust. They aren't having enough kids to keep the U.S. population at the replacement level. That's from the Washington Examiner. Millennials say no to kids. Population replacement level turns negative. America is in a baby bust driven by millennials who are having kids at a record low rate. So there you go. Do what you want with that. Okay. So talk to me. Give the audience a bit of a how do I say this? Give us a brief 2-minute download. Talk to me as if I've never heard of these France riots, and then tell me if you're for or against.
Okay, so the riots in France, these people were rioting over a increase in fuel tax,
okay.
a big increase. And some of the French police were actually on their side initially, prior to pressure, and they chose the yellow safety vest as sort of the symbol. And so that's why they're called the yellow vests. And now they're making all kinds of demands of Emmanuel Macron.
Okay.
And among these demands, we have them saying, stop the construction of large commercial areas around major cities that kill small businesses, plus free parking in city centers. That big corporations like McDonald's, Google, Amazon pay large fees and that small companies pay small fees. Same social security system for everyone. And the end of something called the RSI. Not really sure what that is. I'm not necessarily familiar with many of the French systems. I'd have to live there, I guess. The pension system must remain in solidarity and therefore socialized. No point in retirement. It sounds kind of communistic to me. End of the tax hike on fuel. That was the original demand. No retirement below 1,200 euros. The wages of all French people, as well as pensions and allowances, must be indexed to inflation. For job security, further limit the number of fixed-term contracts for large companies. We want more CDI. That the causes of forced migration are treated. I actually like that one. That asylum seekers be treated well. We owe them housing, security, food, and education for the minors. Work with the UN to have host camps open in many countries around the world pending the outcome of the asylum application. That's my favorite of their demands. That's cool. That the unsuccessful asylum seekers be returned to their country of origin. Maximum salary set to 15,000 euros. That jobs are created for the unemployed. Increase of disabled allowances. Limitation of rents plus moderate rent housing, especially for students and precarious workers. Maximum 25 students per class from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Okay. How the hell are they going to finance all of this?
I know, right?
Okay.
That's crazy.
I'm waiting for BM Fan to call in because I really want to hear, because he's been touting this as a win for the people.
Right.
So I want to hear how he does that. So BM Fan,
that could be interesting.
If you could call in. So how long have these riots been going on?
Let's see. Well, I've been reporting about it for quite a while on my news show. I'd say that's been going on since the middle of November.
Jeez. All right, hold on. I gotta bounce this James Logan fella because he can't play nice with his. I warned you, James Logan.
Did you say something bad? I mean, your beard sucks, so whatever.
Well, no, your beard sucks is fine. He's probably talking about me because I'm the only one visible.
Yeah.
I don't care if... Oh, well, that right there.
I don't know who that is.
That's a slur.
Well, and you told him already?
Yeah, I think
and then he says I'm talking away. Okay.
Yeah.
That's too bad. We gotta remove you from the chat.
I know. All right. Poor fella.
I know. I felt like you just acting like.
Well, yeah, some people need attention.
Yeah.
I don't really care. But
that's what I felt like. You just.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead. You're back.
Right. So anyway, I don't think a lot of this is probably not going to be particularly doable. And honestly, they were getting pretty violent towards the end. They were approaching the French presidential palace. For a while there, they were kind of afraid that maybe someone might throw Macron out there to them and they might lynch him or something.
Oh, hold on. BM Fan is calling right now. So
cool.
I'm gonna decline that, but then add him anyway. Yeah, people are so weird. It's like they say all this crazy shit on our channel when we have the power to boot them.
I know.
It's like, why would you do that?
I know, because, well, I think maybe they... Because we don't want to kick them out.
Yeah, I'm a pretty tolerant guy, but if you get a warning...
I know, then you should listen to it.
Just quit it.
Yeah.
All right, so BM Fan's about to jump online. We should have some sparks flying here for sure.
Apparently that slur is like a really old word, too, so... Like, I keep picturing that person's like 14 years old, that James is like 14, you know? But then it's a really old word, so you're like, wait.
Hey. I'm trying to call BM Fan. Hey, can you hear me? Nate, are you still online?
Yes,
BM Fan, are you online yet, bruv? Whoa, that Gersage thing is doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. BM Fan. Are you on? Yeah, I just hung up on Nate. Let me see. I'll call BM Fan again. I don't know. It's just something that angry white dudes say when they see you with me. It really gets to them. Because you're so beautiful. You got all this nice DNA. It's being wasted on a Negro.
Let me show you something.
Sorry, bub. Where's BM Fan? Yes, James, the image bearer of God, was axed. We're not going to call him a turd or anything like that. Good Lord. What?
Turd.
It says recessive genes. You know that the future belongs to us. Really want to know what you guys are expecting. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with an elaborate baby reveal thing. That's going to happen, what, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, basically. But you have to be, it's going to be released on my channel, My Story Life. So I was going to say you have to subscribe. You don't have to subscribe to see it, but you should subscribe.
Nobody wants to see our behind the scenes life. Boring. When do we find out the gender of your child? A week and a half.
Wait, Ben, you're expecting?
I guess Ben's pregnant. Thank you for telling us you were pregnant, you son of a bitch.
Well, congratulations.
Thought we were friends.
How far along?
For Johan. Johan's free.
Yep.
Johan's free. He's also half the reason that our underground video got released late.
Right.
Yeah, look, there's Ben. Yeah. Well, good job, Ben. I'm glad that you're helping to replenish the earth. Congrats, Ben.
How far along? 4 weeks. Oh, you guys just found out. You stinker. He's like, I'm just not one of those people that blast it out there, blah, blah. You just found out.
Yeah. Oh, he just found out today?
Well, 4 weeks. You don't know much sooner than 4 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I'm glad you told us.
Who's on the line?
Congratulations.
Oh, it's BM Fan. All right, BM Fan, are you good with having a little discussion with Nathan of Washington?
I mean, I guess we can talk a little. I mean, I don't really know what there is to talk about.
Well, I don't think that he thinks that this France thing is a good thing.
I mean, it's just France being France. I mean, they did this back in 1968 too, so.
It's France being France.
I mean, that's what it's France being France. Go look up May 1968. They did this shit then too.
BM Fan is literally like one of my favorite human beings. See, I don't have a problem with saying that there's certain I have favorites. Like that doesn't bother me. It's human nature. You gotta have. Come on, people have friends. You have best friends.
It's true.
And you guys have best friends.
Like France knows that if they want something done, they know what to do. They know to riot. They know to make a noise. You know. Here in America, if that happens, it's like, oh, they're being violent. This isn't good or whatever. But no, France knows what the hell you do to get hurt.
So you're good with the. Did any of them get violent?
Did who?
Any of the French protester? Did any of those guys get violent?
I mean, I certainly know they got violent with anti-fascists. Not anti-fascists, with fascists.
With fascists.
Hello? There's footage of them punching out a Nazi.
In France.
Hello? Yeah.
Hey, Nate, we're here. I'm just getting BM Fan side of it, and then you can talk to BM Fan. So BM Fan is saying this is a good thing, Nate.
I mean, they're calling for generally good anti-capitalist, anti-neoliberal things, which are good policies, if you ask me. Basically, the French government has been neglecting the poor, and they've been in favor of the wealthy.
Shocker.
And they've been spreading this income inequality, and the poor are freaking pissed off. That's what it comes down to.
BM Fan,
like you could say that it's about taxes. It's not about taxes. This taxes was just like the fire that set off the massive piles of gasoline that's been building up.
BM Fan, what officially is France as far as an economic system? Are they capitalist, socialist? Are they mixed? What do they say that they are on paper?
I mean, they're basically mixed. I mean, everything is mixed nowadays.
Okay.
I don't think there is a country that isn't mixed at this point.
Yep.
That's kind of true.
Okay, so Nate, go ahead. BM Fan's on the line. He's our resident communist, anti-fascist. So.
I'm not.
Is he now?
so go for it.
I just generally support left-wing movements.
Oh, really? So you're not so much a communist as you're just a left-wing liberal type person.
No, I hate liberals. I used to be a liberal, but now I hate liberals. Liberals get the bullet.
Okay, now I'm confused.
You think liberals are left? That's the funny part.
Yeah, we've already
I mean, traditionally it's how it was, wasn't it?
No, not really.
Oh. Well, I mean, I'm a libertarian myself. I just want people to have their rights respected above all.
Libertarians are interesting to me. Very interesting.
Are they?
Yes.
All right.
Why?
Because I'll admit, I tend to mix up anarcho-capitalists with libertarians, because they're both kind of pretty weird, if you ask me. Like, how do you feel about capitalism? Do you think capitalism should be unregulated? Do you think the free market is your deity? All hail the free market. There's no such thing as market failures.
I would say that the free market should be as free as possible, with some minor regulations to keep the market from like killing people with bad products. You know, you got to have labels, you got to have warnings, but businesses should be free to grow as they can.
Do you support monopolies?
Well, I mean, I support boycotting if monopolies go too far.
You support the people... Okay, so you think we should all boycott Amazon. Do you think that would work?
Maybe. We probably should. I'm just saying that the government shouldn't do it for us, because when they do stuff, they fuck it up.
Can you give an example?
Well,
what about what was it, Roosevelt and all like the trust busting and whatnot? Was that bad?
Well, I don't know much about what happened with Roosevelt. Honestly, I'm not necessarily all that up on my presidential history for a big
okay, how do you feel about robber barons back in like the 1900s?
Okay, this is going to make me look bad, but I have to claim ignorance on who that is.
The robber barons were all like your early oil tycoons and whatnot. You know, your early industrial people.
Oh, those guys, right?
The people who abuse their workers.
Oh shit! Worker abuses. Well, I certainly believe that unions should be organized and be made to put to work to help with the workers' rights.
So you support unions?
Yes, unions are a great thing.
That's okay. That's actually very unusual. I don't think I've ever heard a libertarian say they support unions.
Wait. Nate, you support workers' unions?
Sure, as long as they're organized by the workers themselves.
Huh. That's very interesting.
I'll agree. That's very interesting. That's the first time I've heard that. But hey, you know, maybe
I'm an individual within the party itself. I'm very much an individual.
Okay, buddy.
Well,
Props to you for supporting unions. We need much stronger unions in this country.
So,
Sure, totally.
Nate, do you support monopolies or no? Do you think it's a government roles to break up monopolies or no?
And again, I would say that I don't feel the government is competent enough to accomplish that. They'll just make an even bigger mess out of it.
Okay, what are you talking about? I think Roosevelt did okay with busting up monopolies.
Well, I'm sure Roosevelt did plenty of good things, admittedly. Some of what I'd been told over the years. I certainly think he's earned his spot on the Mount Rushmore with all the creating all the national parks and shit. He was a cool dude.
Yeah, but when you say that the government's going to screw up monopoly busting, what are you referring to?
That frequently they don't necessarily entirely know what they're doing, and then they create monopoly busting policies that just create a larger mess.
Like, okay, like what are you talking about? Like what example are you referencing?
Well, let's see here.
Like, what's an instance where the government attempted to regulate a business from becoming too big and too powerful that completely messed up? Because generally, the only example I can think of right now would be what was the thing we had before Dodd-Frank? I'm totally blanking on it. Someone in chat probably knows.
I'm blanking as well.
What was that thing we had that prevented the banks from doing all that shady stuff? The Glass-Steagall Act. There we go. Thank you, Jarvie. It's like we had that kind of stuff, and then that stuff got removed, and then we had the crash because all the banks are now free to do very, very shady things and increase in their power. So that's an example of the regulation being removed. But what's one where the regulation created it?
I'm having a hard time remembering. I sometimes have a hard time remembering things because I don't necessarily take the best care of myself, and I occasionally have blackouts.
I mean, it's cool, dude. I'll admit, there's plenty of times where like I'm in over my head and I'm just talking about something, where like sometimes I am just nailing off talking points or whatever. But it's cool, dude. But it's I need to sleep more. I need to sleep more, but I like being awake too much.
What about the EpiPen price gouging thing that happened?
That's so bad.
EpiPen price gouging?
Yeah. How do you feel about the stuff that Martin Shkreli was doing?
So wait, there was price gouging on EpiPens?
No. What was it? It was the first thing that happened was Martin Shkreli raised the price of Daraprim like 15,000% or something like that. And then the person who ran EpiPen, they also raised the price on EpiPens by like a couple, like 100% or whatever like that.
It was $100 in 2007 to $608 for a 2-pack today. That was of September 21st, 2016. So it was like it's like a 500% increase.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yikes.
Is that okay, or should the government step in and say you can't do that?
Okay, maybe I would be okay with them stopping something like that. That's an abuse. That's abusive.
Yeah, but as a libertarian, how could you consistently say that?
I know it's not a perfect political ideology. It's certainly difficult to be truly internally inconsistent and actually care about what happens to people. It can kind of get in the way of things, and I'm just sort of trying to figure things out at the moment.
Well, I mean, that's generally kind of my issue with libertarians and things that push even further, that are like, into like ANCAPs and whatnot, where they seem to have this notion that corporations and capitalism is just all this amazing, great thing, and it's absolutely not totally just ran by greed, and corporations will not do everything they can to make money.
Well, I mean, that is frequently a very true thing.
Like to use Shkreli as an example, Shkreli claimed that the reason he raised the price of Daraprim, which I think someone mentioned was an AIDS medication, I don't remember exactly what medication it was though. He said that the reason he did that was to make up for the cost that he had spent on purchasing the patent and research and development cost.
Also known as "I'm evil as hell." Continue.
That too. So he could then go purchase a Wu-Tang album.
You're kidding.
Well, he did eventually purchase it. He didn't purchase it because of that, but he did go on to purchase that one Wu-Tang record.
So not only does he care more about his own personal profits than his customers, but he also has really shitty taste in music.
Hey, 36 Chambers is a classic record.
Oh, yeah, 36 Chambers is fantastic. I love that record. Hey,
Not my jam, not my thing.
Vin, how do you feel about Gravediggers?
I think they're okay. Hold on. I think Matthew Winter. Call up. It is never the job of the government to interfere with how private citizens run their business or live their lives. Okay, Matthew Winter, call up. What do you mean how private citizens live their lives? Then how could we arrest anyone? How could the government... No, I'm not being funny. I'm just saying, if you say that it's not for the government to interfere with how private citizens live their lives, then how the hell could we arrest? How could we put anyone in prison?
I agree, Ben Webb. This is ridiculous. How can anyone not like Wu-Tang?
Have you heard any Wu-Tang before, Nate?
Reaction.
Tell you what, they do a Wu-Tang reaction, I'll give it a listen. Maybe I'll like it. I'm open-minded to different kinds of music.
Wu-Tang is great, man. When I was young, I hated rap. I was like that, that stupid white kid or whatever.
You
that was
racist
like,
bastard.
Rap, can't spell rap without crap or whatever. Like,
well, I mean, I did kind of grow up in the 90s when rap was cool. I do like Eminem, so...
I mean, I love that old, Wu-Tang type stuff.
I mostly just like Eminem.
M-Death fan? Hey, M-Death fan, that's the first, smart thing you've said in a long, long time. Liquid Swords, that's a great record.
Swords! Is Wu-Tang some kind... Okay, so Nate, you're not really a libertarian. In what sense are you a libertarian?
I guess mostly just in the sense that I think that the government should try and stay out of things more in order to avoid becoming tyrannical and abusing people.
But the reality is that you clearly identify that there are instances where the government needs to do this because you can't rely on, corporations to behave themselves.
I know. It's a hard line. It's a tightrope, I admit. But I'm the type who I say, moralism before legalism. Let's put our values before law. Law should be there to protect us from those who do not share our values, not supplant them.
Yeah, but Jeff Bezos doesn't give a damn. He gave those people a pay hike and then gutted all their bonuses.
Yep.
That man's just worried about the next digit.
Walmart also after the Trump tax cuts or whatever, they gave a bunch of bonuses and then fired a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah, you can't depend on the morality of these people.
No, not people who have access to lots of amounts of money. People are corruptible, and money is the second biggest corruptor of all.
Well, here is where I probably diverge very stridently from M-Death fan. BM fan. Because I believe human beings are sinful, I don't put it only on the rich. I don't think that rich people are particularly evil. I just think that amount of capital affords you the freedom to exercise your sinful nature in ways that the rest of us can't. So I don't think rich people are particularly evil. However...
I don't think rich people are evil either. But I think in general, in order to become rich, you need to have some degree of, scruples.
Well, a lot of that stuff is inherited, though. Like Jeff Bezos' fourth grandchild, he's going to be rich as hell, but it doesn't mean he's evil.
But the thing is, like, Bezos didn't start that way, you know? Bezos started losing tons upon tons of money until he eventually could drive his competition out of business.
Right. Yeah,
That's how he did
Bezos.
it. He just ran at a loss repeatedly over and over and over again.
Right. He was one of those guys, like, he was an intrepid guy, and he took a lot of risks, and he won. I mean, he earned his dollars, that's for sure, but he's turned into a monster. I mean, that's obvious.
I mean, like we were talking about back when Jamal was here. I think we were talking about how Amazon basically blackmails entire countries.
Yeah.
They basically blackmail entire countries. Think about that.
That's a problem. You can't do. Okay, so Nate, you're not really a libertarian, man. You seem to me to be more of a right-wing guy that has, you know. I just don't see where the libertarian is. Like, for example, do you believe in a minimum wage? Do you think we should have a minimum wage?
Well, I think at least someone deserves enough of a minimum wage to survive on, certainly.
Okay, then how are you a libertarian? Do you realize that a lot of these guys are saying we shouldn't even have a minimum wage? Because that's not pure capitalism? That's not pure free market? That's not a purely free, laissez-faire free market. So they're saying we should get rid of minimum wage.
Well, the pure capitalists have actually been seen as sort of like the toxic part of the party. The way a lot of people in the heavy metal community, a lot of people now are calling like metal elitists like toxic and a bad presence. That's kind of how some people in the party see those pure capitalist types, as toxic and a negative presence.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the historical definition of libertarianism and how it's been.
Well, actually, if we really want to get fancy here, the original definition of libertarianism meant anarchy.
Right.
Did it?
Libertarian originally started in, I think, like 1890s France, and it basically meant it was another word for like anarchy. This is why, like, when people talk about libertarian socialism is the closest example of what libertarian originally meant. The way that we use libertarian nowadays is actually American libertarianism, which is a relatively new concept.
Well, most anything that comes out of America is relatively new. There's most other countries are like way older than ours.
Oh, I mean that's absolutely true. But I mean, like, the way that we use libertarian today is a very recent creation of like the past like 20 or so years.
And that's where we get into something that kind of irks me about our modern lexicon. People shifting words for it to mean whatever they want. They change the definition of words to suit their needs.
Actually, on that topic, I actually heard I know, it's classical liberalism. Jesus Christ. What was I going to say? I remember listening to, I think it was like my NPR station or whatever, and they were talking about how there was a comedian, I think it was George Carlin, who was complaining about how we had shell shock, and then shell shock became like combat fatigue, and then combat fatigue became another thing, and it kept going and going until we came to PTSD.
Yeah.
And
yes.
The idea that he was saying was that, well, shell shock was like, shell shock sounded too bad, so we had to start creating these new words to make it not sound as bad or whatever. But I mean, in reality, it's just, we just kind of, like, you can't just describe all instances of PTSD as just shell shock. So like they kept just trying to create a new word to better explain what they were seeing happening in these victims. So like just like changing names and whatnot, it's not necessarily like some like, you know, evil plan to water things down or whatever. It's usually just us gaining more knowledge on topics.
Right. But some people still do it, especially in the PC crowd, the politically correct crowd.
All right, so you believe we should have a minimum wage. You believe that monopolies are dangerous and that businesses can get to a tipping point to where there needs to be some intervention. You believe that the pharmaceutical companies need some regulation. You don't seem... None of those are I mean, you've just anathematized yourself about 3 or 4 times over to the libertarian camp, my guy.
Yeah, like if you were on like the libertarian presidential thingamajigger, you would have been like booed, like when what's his name did, like when was it Gary Johnson got booed for saying he supported driving licenses.
Right.
Hold on a second. Zonia in the chat, she just says I'm a commie.
Yeah.
Zonia called me a commie.
You might as well. You might as well be one compared to what these folks are saying. All right. Well, I thought we were going to have a really big clash of worldviews in jihad here, BM fan, but it seems we're all in kind of agreement here.
I mean, it's cool. This is Nathan of Washington, right?
Yes.
It's cool. I remember. Didn't you call in earlier or whatever, kind of trying to like complain about feminism or something like that? And like I was like, hey, like just trying to be easy on you in the comments earlier.
Yeah.
You know, like check out other like news sources and things like that.
No one's gonna stop reminding me of my failures.
Dude, hey, dude, do you know how many freaking times like I call in and then Vin just like goes crazy on me? It's cool. Like it happens.
I know, it's just that no one on the Discord or the chat ever stops reminding me of my failures.
It's cool.
But
hey, you know what? Based on this conversation, I got hope for you, buddy.
It's a thirst. It's a thirst for knowledge, my guy. That's all.
I got sucked into the alt-right anti-SJW crowd.
Yeah, like I totally hear you, dude. Because it's honestly really easy. It's really easy to trace all of that stuff going down. Especially like out of curiosity, do you play video games?
Yes.
Were you at all involved in Gamergate?
No.
Are you familiar with Gamergate?
Yes.
Okay. Because a lot of that kind of stuff kind of just branched out of Gamergate.
Right.
Are you familiar with what Gamergate was, Vin?
Nah, bro. I've heard of Gamergate. Give me a brief. Hey, Lilo's in the house. I wonder how many times she's gonna insult. I wonder how many times she's gonna insult me or my family. Biggie over Nas all day. Biggie was the greatest. Okay, tell me about Gamergate. Tell me what happened.
All right, so Gamergate was originally, quote unquote, about ethics in games journalism, unquote. Basically, supposedly some woman had made a game, and there were claims that because this woman had dated this guy, and the guy gave her game like a good review or something like that, it was like this horrible, thing about, this horrible travesty or whatever. Except, which like I can understand, like sure, like there probably should be some degree of quote unquote ethics in games journalism, but the whole thing basically just turned into a whole bunch of screeching and reeing about girls in video games, essentially. And then it kind of started turning into the anti-PC, anti-SJW crowd, and it all kind of just snowballed from there.
Oh, I see.
But that's kind of where there were also that's where the whole Anita Sarkeesian kind of hate brigade came from, because she was looking at video games and saying hey, this is maybe we shouldn't do this kind of stuff. This seems bad. And so she starts getting freaking rape and death threats and everything.
Wow.
There's actually a really good little video series called Why Are You So Angry? All about Gamergate. It's 5 episodes long. I would highly recommend watching that if you're really curious about learning it. It also explains a lot about Trump and the current alt-right and stuff, because it's all closely linked.
I'm legit gonna watch that. Anita Sarkeesian is a hateful woman. Wow, Gen G doesn't like the girl. Good night.
I don't like her either. I've seen her weird little PSAs where she thinks everything is sexist, everything's racist, everything's homophobic. You got to point it all out, all that nonsense. Everything.
All right.
Well, let me double check. I'm pretty sure it's called Why Are You So Angry?
It looks like we can't. Holy shit! We got a lot of new subs because of Alex Hefner. Thank you very much, Alex.
Alex Hefner, new favorite in the village.
Oh yeah, it's Why Are You So Angry? I think this part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's by Innuendo Studios. But like that whole series is all about Gamergate, and kind of it analyzes the individuals who were involved in the movement.
Is it on YouTube or Netflix or?
Yeah, it's on
what?
YouTube. It's on YouTube. You can just type in "Why are you so angry?"
I wish there would be like a Netflix documentary about anti-fascist, Antifa / alt-right people and how they got to where they got to.
Oh, that would be great. I'd watch the shit out of that.
I'll tell you, because like I used to be a liberal, and seeing things like Trump and that whole side of the movement and whatnot, obviously I just realized that liberalism isn't working. So I mean that's kind of what radicalized me.
Yeah, I hear you.
I guess in the end I just sort of gravitated towards libertarians and the libertarian label just because I think people have become too dependent on government living their lives for them when they need to learn how to take care of themselves more.
Now, like, since we're kind of, like, so how do you feel about things like Medicare? Like, do you think we should have Medicare for all, or is that something that you're scared about with government?
Medicare. Well, it's a complicated issue with me. I personally think that that we should try and create a system that sort of works like how the Social Security for like the baby boomers works, something you paid into.
Well, I mean, technically we still pay. I mean, it's taxes.
I'm talking about like a literal deposit Medicare type thing, where you just deposit your own money into it, little bit at a time, so it becomes more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of the idea I had.
So you would prefer if Medicare functioned more like Social Security, and it wasn't paid with taxes; it was more taken out of like your paycheck.
Yeah, and then also design it in such a way where like the Congress couldn't dip their hands into it.
I could agree with that. How do you feel about Republicans constantly saying like they're going to cut Medicare, they're going to cut Social Security and all that stuff? Do you think that's a good or a bad thing?
Well, is it not true that people from their own paychecks pay into their own Social Security? Because if that's true, then technically that money shouldn't be theirs to do with as they please.
I mean, yeah, more or less.
I mean, they treat it like it's standard taxation, but fundamentally it's not. If you look at the history of a Social Security, when FDR created it, he created it as a pay-into system.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't meant for Congress. So they just kind of dip into it whenever they feel like it.
He was planning on trying to go for like a Medicare for all type thing too. That was part of the game plan. It just never got to it. Around that same time, basically the entire world almost was faced with a choice because everyone was realizing that healthcare was becoming an issue. So most of the world went towards like Medicare for all and universal and single payers and things like that, like Canada. Whereas we opted to go on employer-based. So everything was ultimately based on your employer. And it worked for us for a little bit, but obviously now we're seeing that it's not working so well anymore. And it's actually really fascinating. If you do look up how Canada handled their transition, you'll see that originally, primarily doctors and all that stuff were the biggest opponents of it. But by like a year of it, like they realized like we're stupid. Like this is good.
So, do you believe, Nate, that healthcare is a human right?
Well, we really have to consider, first of all, what a human right really is and how they're being determined. I believe that there are definitely certain rights that do exist, but if we just go around declaring everything a human right like crazy, saying, oh, this is a human right, that's a human right.
Well, I mean, we do have the UDHR. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Right. Okay.
That's all the human rights that the UN deemed.
So BM
there
fan.
isn't one that specifies
BM fan,
the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
BM fan,
Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
BM fan, you're appealing to a document to establish your doctrine of human rights. Is that right?
Well, I mean, it's agreed upon by the United Nations. I feel like it's a relatively solid document, I guess.
So no, I'm just pointing out that in order to establish your doctrine of human rights, you're appealing to a document.
For the sake of this conversation, sure.
Okay, go ahead. So from that perspective, so Nate, I agree with you. I think BM Fan would have, like BM Fan. Let me test you out here. Do you believe that owning a Lamborghini is a human right?
No.
Do you believe that owning a PlayStation is a human right?
No, it's a luxury.
Okay, so we've established that not everything is a human right? So you're concerned about willy-nilly just handing out rights. We hear it, we agree with it. But we're talking about...
that's a slippery slope policy.
We're talking about a specific issue. The specific issue is health care. Is health care, Nate, a human right?
Well, see, I guess I'm just a little concerned about the consequences of what might happen if we do declare that to be a human right, because then people might try and take that to the extreme. And that could mean something that could cost us a lot of money, a lot of taxpayer money, and a lot of time.
Well, I'm not really asking about that as much as I'm asking initially, what's your opinion? Is it a human right or no?
Well, it's a human right to survive. If you count that under a form of survival, then sure.
Do you want me to read this?
Yes, please.
What is it?
So Article 25 of the UDHR says, everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control.
And let's not forget that also includes motherhood, childhood are entitled to special care and assistance.
Yes,
all children, whether born in or out of wedlock, shall enjoy the social protection.
That's also correct. That's part 2.
Yeah, I just felt like that maybe should be included.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that good or bad?
To me, that's good. To me, that pretty solidly says that healthcare is a human right, yeah. As determined by the United Nations.
Nate, you're being... Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And morally speaking, I think that should be healthcare, I guess, should be included within the right of survival, the right to survive.
Okay. All right.
Because these days, sometimes you can't survive without healthcare.
Well, that's my concern, is that when people talk about their wallets, which is the instinct when you're from a capitalistic context, prior to talking about making sure that their neighbor with cancer or making sure that their neighbor, in the 80s with AIDS or whatnot, when we're talking about our wallets before we're talking about the people around us, I think we got a real issue. And this is not just hippie Jesus Vin. This is just, practical, if you can't do it because the Bible tells you to love your neighbor, at least think about the implications of what would happen if you ended up in a situation where I think there was something there, BM Fan, you'll probably be able to catch it, where it said situations outside of their control or something like that.
Yeah, it's, or lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond its control, yeah.
Right. I think everybody can pretty much say, hey, if I ran into a situation like that,
you would want a safety net.
You would want, and being a person that has kids, I'm able to work ridiculous hours, and I do, to upkeep this channel to generate income, and then my other job, which is extremely demanding. But let's say I work myself into the ground or something like that, or I contract some terrible disease or something, and I'm not able to do that to support my family. I would hope that, they wouldn't be shit out of luck, because I'm not able to, I believe that if I have the health, I should work and put in my 15 hours a day or whatever it is that I work, right? But, and I'm not even sure, I'm thinking out loud here, guys, I'm rambling. I'm not even sure it's exactly a good thing that I work as many hours as I do. I'm not sure that I would even put that on another person. Like, hey, you should work 14, 15 hours a day if you want to be successful. So Nate, do you agree with everything in that human rights thingamajig that we read?
Oh, for Article 25?
Yeah.
So that everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including blah, 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 blah. Well, there's nothing in there that I don't, like, outright disagree with. I don't necessarily agree with absolutely everything. The right to security in the event of unemployment. Like I said earlier, I think people are frequently too dependent on the government to solve all their problems and essentially live their life for them. They should be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and if they can, and if they can't, then you can, claim health care.
The bootstrap suit, man, that's a good meme.
There's a bootstrap suit meme?
Oh yeah, it's because you said pull them up by the bootstraps, whatever. So like people talk about like eating bootstraps for soup, for food.
That's good.
That's some lefty humor for you right there.
BM fan John M is calling you out. He's saying you're whitewashing what happened with Gamergate. I'm just going to read it because I'm a little bit confused. Because I'm pretty sure...
You can go watch Why Are You So Angry? I don't feel like freaking going into it.
I'm pretty sure that what you said is exactly what he said. BM fan is downplaying it, obviously. It was corruption in the game's journalism. Journalists were sleeping with...
I said it was quote-unquote about ethics in games journalism, unquote. But, I mean, the reality is that it went far beyond that. And it became a very, very toxic thing.
Journalists were sleeping with game developers and then giving them high scores. Yeah, he said that, John.
Yeah, I said that.
He literally...
Well, allegedly, I said that.
No, he literally said that, John. That's why I'm a little bit confused.
That was actually happening? They're like sleeping with them and giving them good scores for it?
I mean, supposedly it happened with, I think, Zoe Quinn or something like that. That was supposedly what happened. But that still doesn't explain why she got countless rape and death threats.
Oof.
All right.
Yikes.
Like, you gotta realize, like, the Gamergate was toxic as hell. And that's basically the birth of this anti-SJW kind of culture that we have nowadays.
I think...
Good thing I didn't...
I think you guys are seeing something...
Fall too far into it, then.
You guys are seeing something very historic. Lilo and I agree on something. Matthew, what is the job of the government? Poisoning the environment, pumping money into the military, favoring banks, corporations, etc.? Yeah, it's always crazy to me when I hear people say it's not the job of the government to take care of people. It's like, they're taking care...
that kind of minarchy, I don't understand it. It's insanity.
They're taking care of corporations. They bailed out the fucking auto industry a couple of years back. What are you talking about? How come they get taken care of, but we don't? You idiots keep missing the point.
Like I said, just go watch Why Are You So Angry? It explains everything.
I'm gonna watch it, bro. Right after me and Sawyer are gonna watch it, and I'm gonna beam.
Watch that, and then think about like current American politics and like the alt-right and all that stuff, and everything will just click.
I'm gonna beam Jen in, and we're all gonna talk, and we're gonna give our ex cathedra statement.
Yes, I have, MDEF fan. I briefly worked for the Office of Health and Human Services in my state.
Vin used a term I didn't recognize it. Ex something or other.
Ex cathedra. It means from the chair. So a lot of people mistakenly believe that in official Roman Catholic doctrine that everything the Pope says is like completely true. That's not true. It's only when the Pope speaks ex cathedra or from the chair. That's what it means, from the chair of Peter. That's the only time he's speaking definitively. All the other stuff you can disagree with as a good Catholic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Pope's a politician, so, you know.
That's actually an interesting that's actually an interesting kind of thing because, what was it? Back in like 1900 or something, the Pope actually issued, I think it was called the Rerum Novarum, which was basically trying to say capitalism has its issues, but communism's also not good.
Yep.
So they were trying to do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It was kind of the beginning of, I think, what Europeans call Christian democracy.
Yep.
I will say my piece on communism right now. Name me a first world country that is communist.
There isn't.
Exactly.
Not a communist. Someone commented, like, why am I the communist in the title? What's going on?
Because you're a communist.
I'm not a commie.
You are a commie, BM fan. Stop
I'm not a commie. I'm definitely not a tanky.
You're a commie. All right. I gotta go, guys. It's been 2 hours.
I did want to say one thing, Ben.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of liberation theology?
Yes, I have. That was Obama's pastor, Mr. Jeremiah what's-his-face. But yeah, I've heard of liberation theology. What about it?
Well, no, because liberation theology is kind of just like a socialist take on Christianity.
Yes. I've heard it. I mean, obviously, I have some sympathies to certain points, but I think for me, it misses the focus on the meta narrative. But I understand it, and I understand the necessity for it to some degree.
All right, I was just curious.
All right, my guy. I appreciate you guys very, very much. We should have another Middle America in 24 to 48 hours. The Bible was written by God, Rachel Proud Maggot. I'm just gonna say that to mess with people because I'm leaving.
Neil Murray's thing. I should tell you about Chore for the Lost again.
Chore for the Lost. Oh yeah. Keep bringing it. Shout out to Gersock. Shout out to Alex Hefner. If you haven't subscribed to the man's channel, go do it. He's the man.
Wu-Tang Wednesday. There you go. Come on. We should start trying to get some Wu-Tang reactions.
Yes, Wu-Tang Wednesday for sure. Vin, you evil man.
The local villager. Vin, you evil man.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Was Jesus a Republican? Hell no, Jesus was no Republican. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and Vin's not evil.
Was he a commie though?
He's cool. Was Vin a commie? Well, I don't know.
I think was Jesus ideology. You know, like the good parts of communism where 100 million people don't end up dead?
Yep.
I think that. All right. Love you all. We should be back in 24 to 48 hours.
It was good.
It was cool. Hey, if you ever want to chat or something, let me know. Because I feel like there's a lot of things you can learn. So, and you seem open to it. You seem chill. So.
Wait, what was the first thing you said?
Oh no! If you ever want to like chat and like I can like show you sources or like YouTubers and whatnot like that or whatever, so you can.
Oh, great! Sure.
Get other perspectives on things.
I am gonna watch the Living Color Who Shot You video. So, all right, guys.
All right, later, guys. Bye.
See ya.